And we are continuing our coverage into the Mississippi prison system. Mississippi Today did a 14-month investigation into our prison system. And joining me now is Anna Wolf and Michelle Liu, and they look at Mississippi restitutions. Anna, kind of explain for those who don't know what a restitution system is and how that all works.
Sure. So we got this tip that a woman was working at McDonald's while being an MDOC inmate. And we looked into it and realized that there are people who are imprisoned but working for private companies in the state of Mississippi, living in these restitution centers. And they're there until they are done paying off all of their court debts from criminal convictions, which makes it really unusual because they're sentenced to an amount of money instead of an amount of time. And so they're there indefinitely until they're done paying off their court fees and fines at these minimum wage jobs, you know, a lot of fast food restaurant jobs, chicken plants and things like that. So
Michelle, this is the interesting thing I saw when I read it, because it's an interesting read here, that they're in this situation, they're not in prison, but in the way they are in prison still.
Right. A lot of the folks we talked to said it seemed like they were straddling two worlds. The state of Mississippi, MDOC, doesn't call them inmates. It counts them as residents and doesn't technically consider these folks to be incarcerated. But they go home and sleep behind razor wire at night, yet during the day they put on their uniforms for work, and it's as if their other life doesn't exist.
And when I was reading your article, the minimum wage jobs, not only are they paying restitution, but they have other bills with that $7.25 an hour job that they must pay. That comes out of that paycheck. Is that correct, Anna?
yeah, they're paying room and board to live in these prison-like facilities, and they're paying for transportation to get to their jobs that MDOC is placing them into. And so a lot of the money that they're earning is actually going to these other costs and not to the court.
They're also paying for medical bills on top of that.
So really a small portion of the money they earn, that minimum wage money they earn, is actually going to pay down the fees or the bills that they have. Is that correct?
A portion of it is, yes.
So how long on average are they staying, I guess, in the system? If they are only supposed to be in for a year, how long are they actually staying in?
Sure. So what amount of time they're supposed to be in for, we don't really know, because the judge doesn't usually set an amount of time on their sentencing order. But instead, we looked at the cases of over 200 people on there at one particular day, New Year's Day 2019, and we found that at that point in time, everyone in those centers had been in there for almost 3 or 4 months, and some people up to years even.
Trying to pay off how much money on average?
Yeah, so they don't actually have large or extraordinary large debts typically. We found that on average they're less than $4,000 in debts, but some run up to, we found one $72,000 debt that a guy was trying to pay off, stemming from a possession of meth charge where the state actually tacked on child support on top of that debt, and so he's going to be in there for quite a while.
Trying to pay it off with a minimum wage job.
Sure.
And so the article, when you did the article, what were you hoping, or what are you hoping people will get out of this article that you guys wrote together?
I think one specific unique facet we found of the program was that it appears to us that Mississippi is the only state that is sentencing folks to these jail-like conditions to work off their debts, which makes it a seemingly indefinite sentence. There's no time limit on it, and you're not sitting your debt out. And I think that was one major takeaway we wanted folks to get out of our story.
Mm-hmm. And I know that when you linked your article to a lot of different organizations, what was that about? With the link in the article with the other organizations, is that they could read it, and you're working with other organizations about seeing your articles?
Sure, yeah. So we partnered with the Marshall Project for this investigation, and we were also published in the Clarion Ledger and USA Today. And so Mississippi Today is an online nonprofit news organization that lets other news organizations share our articles for free.
All right, good information and a very good read. Thank you very much for sharing that, and hopefully people will go out there and read your story.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.